Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are giving tips for people that are playing Bannerlord. I've just finished my first playthrough, conquered all of Calradia, and now we're looking to do a new playthrough in January. So here is best to worst, or worst to best, I think, of the current cultures. So at the bottom, at the moment, I think Sturgia is the worst. Army loses 20% less cohesion, and recruiting up infantry troops 25% cheaper, 20% more relation penalty for kindred decisions. I don't feel like these are enough. A lot of these, can be counted with money. That's why, for me, they are number 6. Number 5, then, on my list is Khuzaits. Recruiting and upgrading mountain troops are 10% cheaper. And 25 production bonus for horse moves calcium in villages owned by rulers. 20% less tax income from towns, which can be quite of an issue if you're starting slow. Those towns, if you own them, you need the money to obviously pump into other things. 10% cheaper for me is not really that much of a bonus. Coming at number 4 then for me, I've obviously gone for Valandia. 5% more renown from battles, and 15% more incomes while serving as a mercenary. So, if you're doing a massive mercenary run to get loads of money, obviously this would benefit you. 10% production bonus to villages that are bound to castles, and recruiting lords to armies cost 20% more influence, which is kind of the worst one. You want to get a lord in, it's costing you more. The counter argument to a lot of these can be money. So, then for me, next one, third on my list, I personally would put Azerai next. Again, the caravans being 30% cheaper can really, really help you at the start. 10% less trading penalty as well is kind of good if, that's how you want to make your money and craft and necessarily not battle too much. No speed penalty in deserts, which is perfect. Whole of the Azerai territory is covered in deserts, so obviously that would benefit you there. But daily wage of troops and pies increased by 5%, but you could argue you would counter that. Obviously with the 10% less trade penalty that you can make. For me, number 2 is Empire, so 20% less garrison troop wage. So the amount of army you have obviously costs less. Bringing in armies costs 20% more influence as well. Because obviously, being in an army fighting gives you 20% more, and village hearths are damaged by 20% less. And for me, and the reason why I put this first, and I always will put this first, is Britannia gives you something as a bonus that money cannot buy. Okay, so as you can see here, it's a 50% less speed penalty and 15% sight range bows in forests. Towns owned by Britannia rulers have 1% population and 10% slower build rate for towns. Okay, so 50% less speed penalty in general is something that the money you can't buy around. The 15% ranges in bonus is a bonus, but for me, the 50% less speed penalty is the reason why I put these first. Because you could argue every other faction here, 20% less garrison troop wage, have more money, it will counter it. Valandia, 15% more while serving as a mercenary, fight more. Azerai, caravans are 30% cheaper and 10% less penalty trade, but you have to pay 5% more. Okay, make more money. Khuzaits, recruiting and upgrade costs 10%, you've got money. And again, it's one of those, once you have your first 100, 200, 300,000 dinars, these classes don't necessarily benefit you anymore, because you're not worried about 20% less garrison wage if you've got 200,000 dinars. So for me, that is why I would always put Britannia top, because of the speed percent penalty that you cannot buy in the game. Let me know, guys, what run through you are doing. I just finished making my own kingdom and smashing out all of Calradia. If you want to ask any questions, my first playthrough, I did my best to answer. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.